This is Jordan Tower with J2 News. Well, today we got top 10 failed rapper clothing lines. We all know rappers like to capitalize off their fame and maybe have some clothing go with it. And that's smart when it comes to merchandise on the road. But when you're trying to do a full-fledged clothing line in stores, that is difficult, and most clothing lines fail. Not just rapper clothing lines, period. It's very expensive to keep stock and everything. So we'll start with Brooklyn Mint, founded by Notorious B.I.G. back in around 1995-ish. Notorious B.I.G. was always known for being that fly dude. You always heard him say, Coogi down to the socks, and he was a big guy, but he was able to like always pull off the fly shit. Well, unfortunately, he passed before the label could take off. And back in 2005, Mark Pitts tried to recreate the brand, but it just didn't work and went straight to pawn shops and everything. It just didn't work. Number 2, Bushi Sports. Busta Rhymes created this clothing line around 1999 after selling 2 great albums. I think they both went multi-platinum through Flip Mode Electra. Flip Mode is his label. Well, Bushi to him meant, remember when he was into his Japanese type stuff back in 1999? He was into a lot of Japanese writing, and like he'd have swords in his videos, and he had the crazy hair. Well, Bushi meant Japanese warrior to him, or another way of saying Busta shit. Unfortunately, this label failed. Nobody wanted to dress like that. 3. Gnostic, created by Jim Jones in 2007 to capitalize on the skull movement that him and Jewels basically borrowed from bikers and rockers. But basically around 2007, this is when Ballin' took off, so they just shut the store down on 125th Street and just moved into music because obviously Jim Jones had a hit record and was able to capitalize on that. You can't put your you can't spread yourself too thin. You got to focus on one thing at a time. So he was smart to do that. Number 4, Snoop Dogg Clothing, founded in 2000. Around this time, Snoop Dogg was on fire. Now this is confusing because he had a lot of clothing lines. So this is like before he launched Rich and Famous Clothing Line, which is a generic clothing line rebranded with his logo and random bandana designs. Snoop launched his apparel line, which consisted of rebranded t-shirts, jeans, and sweatshirts, and same old G thing. Didn't really take off like that. Then we have Fat Joe with FJ560. He opened this in 1997 and started this to accept designs from local Black and Latino designers, which is, it's a nice idea and thought. And, you want to sell their designs in the stores, but eventually the store was mismanaged and had to shut down. I think he had his homeboys running it. And, sometimes it's best not to have them run the store. It's better to have someone that's, specializes in that, in managing a store. That's very hard to manage a store. Number 6, DMX Signature Clothing. DMX came out with a baggy type of clothing line, real rugged wear. Like, you remember he was into the camo back then, but nobody really wanted to dress like X like that, and it was distributed to local stores, but nobody bought it, so they had to shut it down. And number 7 is No Limit Clothing, Master P, early 90s. He had a lot of things in his portfolio: toys, movies, record label, credit card company. He had one of the first credit card companies before the Rush Card and everything. Well, this got taken in the No Limit bankruptcy. Oh, here's a good one. Number 8, CEO by Damon Dash. He's the only one that wears this clothing line. Rockaware was sold, and then he tried to recreate the brand, but he had no superstars to wear it. So unfortunately, he's the only one that wears this clothing line to this day. Number 9, Outkast Clothing in 2002. This was like, remember they had eccentric ways of dressing with furs and caps and the overalls. You were supposed to be able to dress like Outkast. Unfortunately, it looked like Fat Farm in the store, so nobody really bought into it because they wanted to dress eccentric and wild like Outkast, but they didn't get that in the store. So they shut down. And lastly, we got Soji by Common. He tried to make these like driver type caps teaming up with the Coppola Sorta, but the hats were like $125 plus, and people weren't spending that on a driver cap. Anyways, this is top 10 failed clothing lines by rappers. We have a bunch of others with, runner-ups. Prodigy with his clothing line Infamous, and then we had a Young Buck with Keep It 100. But, hey, that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it.
Jordan Tower Films. Jordan Tower Films.